Now to opening statements and the first witness on the stand in Donald Trump's criminal trial in New York. First criminal trial ever for a former president. Aaron Katersky is outside the courthouse. Good morning, Aaron.
And George, good morning to you. Right from the start, prosecutors emphasized the significance of the case. They tied Trump's alleged doctoring of business records to the 2016 election. And today, the jury is going to hear how a supermarket tabloid became what prosecutors call the eyes and ears of the Trump campaign. This morning, former National Enquirer publisher David Pecker returns to the witness stand where he already testified about the tabloid's checkbook journalism. Prosecutors said it paid for stories it never printed to help protect Donald Trump during the 2016 campaign. And weeks before the election, prosecutors said the Trump campaign was deeply concerned. The Access Hollywood tape had surfaced. Trump overheard talking about grabbing women.
I just start kissing them. It's like a magnet. You just kiss. I don't even wait. And when you're a star, they let you do it.
Prosecutors said the impact of that tape on the campaign was immediate and explosive. Prosecutors said when Trump heard from Pecker that adult film actress Stormy Daniels had another story that could turn into a sex scandal, he was adamant that he did not want the story to come out. At Trump's direction, prosecutors said his fixer Michael Cohen wired Daniels $130,000. And then, to hide the true nature of the payment, Trump allegedly decided it should be recorded as legal services, all part of what prosecutors called a planned, coordinated, long-running conspiracy to keep the voting public in the dark. It was election fraud, prosecutors said, pure and simple. Trump said it was no such thing.
It's a case as to bookkeeping, which is a very minor thing in terms of the law. This is a case where you pay a lawyer, he's a lawyer, and they call it a legal expense.
The defense said President Trump is innocent. President Trump did not commit any crimes. And defense attorney Todd Blanche said Michael Cohen cannot be trusted. He is obsessed with President Trump. He has a goal, an obsession with getting Trump. The former president sat in court hunched forward, arms crossed on the table, glowering as Pecker, someone who once called Trump a personal friend, testified for the prosecution. Pecker flashed a big smile and cackled at times, belying the gravity of the moment, the first witness in the first criminal trial of a former president. At times throughout the day, Trump closes his eyes, a sign perhaps of disinterest or defiance or maybe just fatigue. He'll snap to when a lawyer nudges him with a note or when he hears something pointed. Imagine, George, this morning he will be wrapped as the judge considers whether to hold him in contempt for violating a gag order.
Yeah,
George?
That happens before the witness comes back. Okay, thank you, Aaron. Let's bring in Dan Abrams and John Carl. Dan, let me begin with you. We heard for the first time each side's full theory outline of the case. What stood out in the opening statements?
Well, the big picture, right? The prosecutors are trying to make this as big as possible. This is a criminal conspiracy, according to prosecutors. This isn't just about falsifying business records. This is much bigger. This is Donald Trump working with David Pecker and others to make sure that this information doesn't come out in the 2016 election. From the defense perspective, they're doing just the opposite. They're trying to narrow this. They're trying to make this seem as small and inconsequential as possible. It's about some records here, and they're also going to try to make this about Michael Cohen as much as possible. It is clear the defense's strategy is to say, this is about Michael Cohen. You can't believe Michael Cohen. Prosecutors are saying that they can back up what Michael Cohen is saying with other witnesses and with records, but the defense wants to try to make this case as much as possible about Michael Cohen's credibility.
David Pecker is the first witness. Fair to call him the star witness?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, look, according to prosecutors, he's the one executing on all of this, right? He's the one deciding which stories get killed. He's part of the process in talking about what's coming in, what do we have to worry about, et cetera. And he becomes the executor for Donald Trump in all this, so becomes a critical witness and the heart of his testimony coming today.
Let's bring John Carl in. Donald Trump appeared to fall asleep for the fourth time in this trial yesterday. What did you make of his demeanor overall?
Look, he looks diminished and defeated and irritated to be there. You could see it in him. He comes out after the proceedings to talk to the cameras. His political advisors have said that day after day he would use that moment to go on the offensive, hit his campaign themes, talk about how we're in this trial when we should be talking about the border or about crime. And instead he comes out and he has these complaints about about how he's treated in court, the temperature in the courtroom, and he doesn't look like a presidential candidate. He looks like a convicted.
I wanted to follow up on that. We're going to have that contempt hearing today. Do you think he actually wants to be sanctioned by the judge?
I mean, look, I don't think that that was the plan. He went out. I mean, this is amazing. The hearing this morning is whether or not he should be held in contempt for violating the gag order. And he went out and he violated the gag order again yesterday afternoon. I don't think it was part of the plan. But look, the violations can be punished by $1,000 per episode, or he can be put in prison. Nobody thinks he's going to be put in jail. So $1,000, and he gets to portray himself victim. Perhaps on some level, he wants to be reprimanded.
Okay, John, thanks very much.